The wind picked up from the south, rushing through the alley, like a racer in his final dash. Mav stood alone, no company aside from scattered lamps hung from rooftops. He closed his eyes and slipped his vest off, embracing the brisk breeze as much as was socially acceptable. Even still, the wind was weak, disappointing, compared to the glacial gales of Yaros. As he wandered over snow-capped mountains in the frigid tundra, this wind could have been a furnace. I should go back to Yaros. Mav resumed his walk. I'll get stronger there, and maybe do some good while he was at it. Mav's pace picked up, his heart rate increasing. Damn, so much for walking off his pent-up energy. What had the last couple hours been for, if not to calm him down? Now, it was nearly midnight, and Mav still wasn't tired. He was normally asleep by this time. But Marin would be in that room reading a book, no doubt. A jolt of anger twisted his stomach. No way he'd get any sleep around her anyways. Oh, bless flame dancer, a voice called from Mav's left. Mav halted. His route had brought him in front of CC Corp's headquarters, where Colton, in his business attire, despite the hour, came rushing out. Oh, thank the Eternal Twins you're awake, Colton said, face flushed with an odd mixture of anxiety and relief. What's wrong? Mav asked, stepping closer to Colton. The mine owner was out of breath and his skin was clammy, despite the night's chill. What's happened? I might be overreacting, but I fear something horrible is happening. Mav didn't press for answers, verbally at least. He stared, imploring Colton to continue. The man cleared his throat. Julio is missing, as are about 20 of our employees and many stores of explosives. Do you have a security feed here? Mav asked. Only in key locations, which does include our munition supply room and the southern gate. Did you see them taking the explosives and heading towards the mountain? Colton shook his head. About an hour ago, the feed from those 2 cameras died. Only those 2. I've been trying to figure out why since I was notified. And your conclusion? Isn't it obvious? I think Julio is going to try and do something drastic. If in his mind there are no Titans for the bishops to find... Mav's stomach sunk. Julio had been impatient to the point of sacrilegious. But would he really go so far as to kill Titans? It was at least worth investigating immediately. Yet his dear guild leader would demand a greater price, despite the possible severity of the situation. Mav gripped Colton's shoulder. Don't worry, I'll handle this. Without another word, Mav charged towards the south gate. Marin sighed, stretching her sore muscles as she left the bathroom. Steam wafted into the hallway from her hot shower. Thankfully, the place was heated, so it wasn't miserable to trek through while only wearing her large t-shirt as pajamas. Now that she'd done her workout, in the small gym the company provided for its on-site living employees, it was time to relax before bed. Unless Mav was there. She grumbled as she reached her room. Mav had disappeared after they'd met with the bishops. The last several hours had been peaceful as a result. Marin hadn't known Mav to stay up this late, however, so even if he was there, she could. Heavy footsteps drew her attention. From down the hallway, the portly visage of Colton waddle ran towards her. What's wrong? Marin asked. Not waiting to catch his breath, Colton filled her in on what he discovered and how he'd found Mav and reported the same thing. And then he left for the mountain, Colton finished, voice weary. I know he may have contacted you, but I wanted to be sure you knew. He left in such a rush he might have forgotten to contact you. Make a list, Marin. Prioritize. Julio and a band of men armed with explosives were gone, likely headed towards the mountain, likely with ill intent towards the Titans. And Mav had gone after them. Without her. Without even telling her. You did the right thing, Marin said, a fire as hot as Mav's in her chest. I'll be right there, but first I have to change.